Welcome back, everyone. Oz here, and today I've got some r/am I the asshole for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading the post, giving you my thoughts and opinions, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Hey, real quick, by the way, GamerSupps is doing a 21% off for all partner codes, so if you want to get some GamerSupp for cheap, go use code Oz at checkout because the sale applies to all items site-wide, so definitely take advantage of that. Every purchase made using code Oz supports me directly, and I do mean directly. The sale starts February 21st at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and is going all the way until February 28th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Cereal for dinner 12. Am I the asshole for asking my friend to give back a gift I gave her after she openly expressed that she would be getting rid of it? OP has been deemed not the asshole. Let's find out why. I, 27 female, have been friends with this girl, we'll call her Mary, 28 female, since high school. Recently, I was back in her hometown and she invited me to her birthday brunch to celebrate her 28th B-Day. One day, on my way home, I happened to stumble across an estate sale where I found a set of really nice crystal champagne glasses that were in really good condition and cheaper than they're worth. Mary lives a high-quality, fancy lifestyle, so I thought they would be perfect for her, especially because they were within my budget. At the time, I had been recovering from student loans and just put down a deposit on my first apartment in the city. Fast forward to the brunch. We had a really good time and I got to catch up with Mary and other friends from high school. Mary was eager to open the presents, and when she got to mine, she seemed to enjoy them, asking me where I got them since there was no label. I explained that I didn't know the brand, but the person running the estate sale had assured me that they were authentic and had been a wedding gift to the previous owners. At the mention of the estate sale, Mary became visibly disgusted. Although she didn't say anything to my face, she was very passive-aggressive towards me for the rest of the afternoon. I overheard her whispering to some of the other guests about how I had the audacity to give her a used item, and that she would be discarding them later. After the event was over, I approached her privately, not wanting to make a scene, and asked that if she wasn't going to use the glasses, if she could give them back, as I would put them to good use and know their quality. She flipped out and told me it was extremely rude to ask for them back and it was not my business what she did with them. My family is understanding and thinks I did nothing wrong, but some mutual friends also at the event think otherwise. So, am I the asshole? So personally, I didn't really know a lot about crystal champagne glasses, so I googled them, and was astonished to see that a set of 2 can be as much as, well, anywhere from $100 to $500 for just a good quality middle line pair. Some that I saw went upwards to $2,000 fucking dollars, but still, that's a pretty nice gift to give someone if it is an authentic pair of glasses, and if they're actively talking about how they're gonna just throw them away, I can understand breaking the traditional norms of asking someone like, hey, if you're just gonna throw these away, then just give them back because I'll put them to good use. It's also incredibly shitty that she was just actively essentially trash-talking OP in her gift like the other guests, in a whisper, hush, hush kind of way. Like, that's not fun. But, and listen to me on this one, I can understand, getting a gift and then finding out, oh, you bought a dead person's belongings and gave them to me as a gift. Personally, wouldn't bug me, but I know there are some people who might be superstitious about that, or, they might just have mixed feelings about, using someone's crystal wedding champagne flutes and receiving that as a gift. There's a lot of different takes on this, and there is going to be a lot of different opinions in the comment section for certain on the idea of, giving thrifted items as a birthday gift. I just ask that y'all be respectful. Honestly, I think OP's only mistake here is misjudging who the gift was for, because some people would probably really love to receive something antique as a birthday gift, but others who, like every item they own to be brand new and never touched by another human before, probably wouldn't like that, and it sounds like she gave an antique item to someone who only likes new things, and that's definitely gonna cause some problems. But again, her behavior at the brunch was pretty damn disgusting, and I can understand why OP would ask for the items back. It does break some agreed upon societal customs that we have in place, but in this circumstance, it's a bit iffy. And I'd like to hear what you guys think about this one, because it definitely has a bit of complications to it. So, what do you guys think? No Reputation 1738. Am I the asshole for telling my girlfriend I wouldn't make her a coffee anymore unless she stops micromanaging me? Reddit's deemed this person to be not the asshole, and has also disabled the comments. Oh boy. That's what poo mode means on the subreddit, by the way, is that if poo mode is activated, it means the comments have gotten so out of fucking control, they had to turn them off. Just to give a little bit of context for that. So, for context, I, 24 male, and my girlfriend, 23 female, have been together for about 2 years, living together for roughly 6 months. Normally, we have a good routine. I wake up first, make coffee, and she wakes up to get a nice hot cup. Recently, though, she started getting really particular about how she wants it done. She insists on using this super specific method. Measure the grounds to the exact gram, pre-warm the mug in the microwave for 30 seconds, add the milk at a certain temperature, and on and on. At first, I tried to oblige because, hey, if she loves coffee that much, I want to make it nice for her. But it got to the point where every time I handed her a cup, she'd grill me. Did you weigh the grounds first? Did you warm the mug? Is this whole milk or 2%? If anything was off, even by a tiny bit, she'd sigh and say it wasn't as good as the right way. One morning, she literally took the mug from me, dumped it down the sink, and started the process herself, while ranting that I never do it the right way. I got frustrated and told her, if you're going to be this picky, just make your own coffee. I'm done making something only to be told how it's wrong every time. She got upset and said I was overreacting, as she just wants her coffee a certain way, and that I should respect her preferences. I argued that I was respecting her preferences, I just didn't appreciate the constant criticism or micromanaging. She accused me of being lazy and unaccommodating. Now I'm feeling guilty because I do want her to enjoy her morning coffee, but I'm also tired of feeling like I'm a barista under constant scrutiny. Am I the asshole for telling her that she can just handle it herself until she stops micromanaging me? Or should I just suck it up and follow her super detailed instructions? So the part that gets me on this one that kind of gives me some really bad ick vibes is when she states that OP should just respect her preferences. A preference should be something simple, like if you like vanilla or hazelnut creamer, not a laundry list of instructions to make the perfect cup of coffee every time, and if one thing is barely missed, you dump it down the drain and then do it yourself while also saying, oh, you never do this right or you never do it the right way. That's like demoralizing in just a hellscape, and honestly, this feels like a mask is starting to slip, buddy, and you gotta start watching out because suddenly the coffee preferences is going to extend to a lot more in your life, and you're going to be lazy and unaccommodating for every weird detail list that she has attached to how she enjoys to live her preferences. Also, if she has to ask questions like, did you weigh the grounds first? Did you warm the mug? Is this whole milk or 2%? And she can't just tell by tasting it, she's just trying to find reasons to demoralize you and fucking hit you where it hurts and make you feel like you're useless. Like, seriously. You tried doing something nice for your significant other by making her a cup of coffee in the morning, and now it's become a morning chore. Like, if you're a coffee snob, you gotta get it through your head that, like, you can't expect everyone to have, like, the same kind of appreciation and dedication to detail to your coffee, and if someone makes you a cup of coffee, you enjoy that. If you want a perfect cup of coffee, you make it yourself. I mean, hell, this is the kind of shit that would probably make a Starbucks barista quit on the spot. Like, seriously. Also, checked OP's post history. They broke up. So, yeah, that's probably for the best if I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. Because to me, sounds like the mask was starting to slip, and that gets dangerous really quick. Emotional Rest 494. Am I the asshole for coming home upset after my boyfriend said he would cook and didn't? For context, my, female 23, boyfriend, male 26, and I live together. He's still studying, online, and I work full-time. 7:30 to 4 p.m. He's at home the entire day. I usually come home to cook and I really don't mind it at all. And today my boyfriend said he would cook as I told him I was really hungry during work, so that the food would be done when I got home so I could just eat. I got home and nothing was done. I got very irritated and just went straight to the kitchen and started cooking. My boyfriend saw that I was upset and said he was gonna cook, but he was waiting for the maid to come and wash the pots, and she only came at 3 p.m. In my head, I thought, why can't you wash one pot? But I said nothing. Instead, I said, why couldn't you at least prep the things I needed to cook, like cut onions, peel the potatoes, etc.? He goes on to say he didn't do it because where would he leave it while the maid cleans? I was just shocked because, firstly, that's the dumbest excuse anyone could come up with. And secondly, can you not use common sense? Anyway, long story short, he's now mad at me and not talking to me and sleeping in the lounge. I'm so frustrated. How can he be mad at me for something he did? Like, am I the asshole for getting upset with him because he didn't cook? It's literally my birthday tomorrow and he's not even talking to me currently. All I wanted was to come home today and have the food ready so I could eat. I don't mind doing the cooking, but then don't say the food will be done and when I get there, nothing has been done. I'm so frustrated currently and he just makes it seem as though I'm the bad person and I just feel like shit. Edit, for everyone asking about the maid, she only comes once a week to do a thorough clean. My boyfriend usually washes the leftover dishes during the day when I'm at work. This sort of makes me more mad because then he had no excuse not to wash the pot. I tried talking to him about it and he said, "But you knew I was gonna do it, I was just waiting for the maid to be done." But that was not what was discussed. He then proceeded to say I chose to come home and get upset and be rude. And I said if he was in my shoes, he would understand why I was frustrated. He then said I was talking to my hoes. I was literally talking to my parents while I was waiting for the food to get done. And when I said he's being immature and ridiculous, he told me to fuck off and went back to sleep on the couch. Very, very hurt. He's never been vulgar towards me and I'm just at a loss for words, and I refuse to run after him. For everyone asking if we discussed a time, he only agreed to cook because I was really hungry today, and so the food would be done when I got home and I could just go eat. If this is how he's reacting to such a minor mistake, that's definitely concerning. Like, even if, honest to God, he was just waiting for the maid to be done and didn't want to get in her way and was way too fucking awkward about it, at minimum, what he could have done when his girlfriend got home was offered to help. Help with meal prep, help with anything that he possibly could to help make up for that. Instead, it's her fault for being upset over something that he promised he would do for her. And she was expecting that when she got home, that she would have food for her after being hungry for a long time throughout the day. But no. He only made excuses as to why he didn't do anything and made no attempt to make up for it in the slightest, and instead, actually kinda low-key, not low-key, very much high-key, pulled out the classic Darvo rulebook, something I am very unfortunately familiar with. Basically, Darvo stands for deny, attack, reverse, victim, and offender. D is deny, you deny any wrongdoing. A is attack, you attack their character, their credibility, basically anything you can to get some leverage to make them doubt themselves. Then, you reverse the order of the victim and offender. I'm the victim now, even though I'm the one that caused the problem, and you're the one getting upset for no reason. He denied any wrongdoing. He couldn't get there because the dishes weren't clean, despite the fact that he could have cleaned them throughout any time of the day. Sounds like he also cleans them on a regular basis. He couldn't even do meal prep because where would he put them? He would be in the way of the maid. Him saying that you're immature and to fuck off, or that, you knew I was gonna do it anyway, so why'd you jump in and do it before I could even start it? And then of course ending it with him being mad at you for being mad at him for something that he said he would do but didn't do. I had to get very familiar with Darvo as a concept during the year of 2023. Certainly not a fun time. Additionally, on top of the playbook, what I think probably happened here was, the maid probably didn't even show up late. He just fucking forgot to, got distracted. Then when it was too late and realized he fucked up, came up with any excuse that he could under the book that you could not verify, and hit you with that. This way, he could find any modicum of excuse for why he wasn't able to do the cooking that he said he would be able to do. It's not his fault he wasn't able to. You see, it was the maid's, and he couldn't quite do that because none of the pots were clean, and yada yada yada. You guys know the story. You need to sit down and have a long-ass talk with your boyfriend about this kind of fucking behavior, because if this shit continues, it's gonna make you miserable. You can't be living your life like this. Sure, he could be having a bad day, but if this behavior continues, the mask is slipping. He's showing you who he really is. His true colors are coming out. You gotta ask yourself, do you really want to spend the rest of your life with this person? And also, to my understanding, you have a job that you work on a daily basis. He does not. He's a student. You come home and you do all the cooking. He does nothing. You have a maid for the cleaning. Sometimes he does the dishes. I'm guessing you're also paying all the bills, so what is he doing exactly? Hell, on the things that he offers to do for you, he can't even follow through and comes up with excuses for why he wasn't able to. Like, that dude needs to have a come to Jesus moment if he wants to keep you. Overall tomatoes, 6664. Am I the asshole for refusing to let my girlfriend bring her dead dog's ashes on vacation? OP has been deemed the asshole, and such a significant one they've locked down the comment section. OP provided an Amazon listing for an itty-bitty urn. Like, look at this thing, like it fits in the palm of your hand. It is very small. On mobile, sorry if there are formatting errors. My girlfriend, 29 female, and I, 28 male, have been together for 4 months. She had a dog that died a few months before we met. I've only ever spent the night at her place. I live with my sister and her 2 kids, so it's a little chaotic at my place. Girlfriend has a small, 2 to 3 inches tall, urn on her bedside table with a dog's ashes. Before she turns off her lamp to go to sleep, she always gives it a little tap on the top and says, "Good night," as though she's talking to the dog. I think it's weird, but I've never said anything. We were supposed to go away for the weekend. On Friday, I was watching her pack and noticed she took the urn and put it in the top pocket of her backpack. I asked her what she was doing. She said she didn't want to leave the dog behind. I told her she was not allowed to bring the urn as it made me very uncomfortable. I didn't want to see it any time we returned to our hotel room. I didn't want her talking to her dead dog after we've had sex, i.e. before we go to sleep. It's weird, and frankly, she's been mourning this dog for too long. She didn't argue, she simply started to unpack her bag. She told me to have fun on the weekend getaway, as she would not be coming. I asked if she was seriously choosing a dog's ashes over me. She said she was choosing herself over me, as I could have spoken to her with kindness and empathy, but didn't. She also said that I didn't get to dictate how long she's allowed to grieve. Then she asked me to leave. She hasn't replied to my texts. I think she's overreacting. My sister said she can see both of our sides. Am I the asshole for thinking my girlfriend is weird for being so attached to her dead dog's ashes? Edit 1. The hotel was non-refundable and only a 3-hour drive, so I went on the trip without her. Edit 2. She started seeing a psychologist around the same time we started dating. She hasn't told me any specifics, but she said the trauma of suddenly losing her dog brought to the surface other trauma in her past. This is why I think she's been mourning for too long. She's still attached to the dog, even after seeing a professional on a regular basis for several months. Update, and I'm sure this will make a lot of you happy. I get it. I'm an asshole. I texted my girlfriend to say I'm sorry for how I spoke to her and for dismissing her feelings. It was wrong. I also said I would like to apologize in person and offered to bring over her favorite takeout. She said, "All good, don't worry about an in-person apology. I gather the things you've left at my house. Let me know when you would like to come pick them up. I'm hoping she will still hear me out when I go to her place." Edit 3. To those of you DMing me who think I'm not the asshole but won't post a public comment due to the risk of being downvoted, please stop. That is cowardly. To those saying my girlfriend is a lunatic, sociopath, unhinged, a trauma dumper, has endless emotional baggage, in need of a mental institution, etc., please stop that too. While myself and others may not understand what she is going through, that doesn't automatically make her mentally unstable. She has a good heart and a good head on her shoulders. Name-calling is unnecessary and borderline crueler than I was. Final update. I shared this post with her, thinking it might help her see that I was wrong and I'm owning it. And maybe it would open the door to a discussion. That blew up in my face. I probably should have deleted some of the questionable comments I made in this thread. She texted to say, "Your things are now in a garbage bag on the porch. Pick them up sooner than later so they aren't stolen. Goodbye, my name. Please respect my wishes and don't text me anymore." Sorry if my thoughts are a bit disorganized on this one, because I definitely have a lot of them on this. The first thing that I'm probably going to start with is I feel like Edit 3 is disingenuous, and it feels very much like it's an attempt to soapbox his way back into his now presumably ex-girlfriend's life. Because if he did have the intention of sending this to her, hitting it with Edit 3 that's in bold and, essentially stating what he states, with the knowledge that he does plan on sending it to her, I do get the feeling that he made that edit with some ulterior motives attached to it. Now, that is a tinfoil hat theory on my end, so don't take that as gospel. I'm not saying that is exactly what happened. That is just my interpretation of the events here, and, tinfoil hat time. Now, just addressing the post in general, I was thinking this would be more oriented around, TSA probably not liking an aluminum shell filled with biological material. That would have been maybe a different story, because I could definitely see that could cause some problems and could even lead to her having to, unfortunately, dump her dog's ashes in a TSA trash can. That is unfortunately not a joke. I actually had a cousin once who flew to the Oregon coast with their dog. Their dog, sadly, because they were extremely old and did die from natural causes, but were then cremated at a local vet and then, put into an urn, went to go fly back, and some fucking TSA guy on a power trip made them dump the urn into a fucking trash can under threat of being detained. So if that was the case, this would have probably been a little bit of a different, result here. But because instead he's interfering with his, now ex-girlfriend's grieving process, someone who he hasn't even known for that long, and she's dealing with something still, has a lot of trauma resurfacing, has a lot of shit going on, she's in therapy for it, she also knows what's good for her because the moment that he talks shit to her, she said, you know what, fuck it, I'm just gonna stay here, I'm not gonna deal with you. If me packing an urn for a 3-hour-long road trip is that big of a deal to you, then I just have no interest in this relationship. And honestly, I respect her for that. She knows what she wants, she knows what she's good for, and he had no respect for that, and he didn't realize what he fucked up until the end of it there. Also, I can't imagine in the same breath stating, yeah, the death of her dog brought up a lot of old trauma, but also, she's been seeing a professional, I don't understand why she's been mourning it for this long. Like, Buddy really dropped the ball here. Throw her a father-son con. Am I the asshole for admitting to my son that I love his mother more than him and telling him he's acting self-centered? Reddit has deemed this person the asshole. My son moved out right after graduating college last year. Since then, he's been very preoccupied with his own life. My wife and I couldn't be prouder of him, but we do wish he made a little more effort to keep in touch, especially since he only lives 30 minutes away. Months would go by without hearing from him, and we were always the ones to reach out first. We never complained about it to him, well, until my wife's birthday. Her birthday was 2 days ago, and we didn't get a call or a surprise visit. She was a little upset, but chose not to confront him. I decided to call him about it. Not out of anger, just as a reminder. I said, "Hey buddy, you missed your mom's birthday." He immediately apologized and asked me to wish her a happy birthday on his behalf. I told him it would be nice if he could visit us soon because we miss him. Apparently, that set him off. He told me that he has his own life to live and that we have ours. I told him I understood, but we're still his parents and want to stay close. And that's when he bluntly said he doesn't want a closer relationship with us and that he's frustrated we won't leave him alone. I asked him why, and out of nowhere, he brought up something from when he was 10 years old. He said he overheard my wife and me saying that we love each other more than we love him. I was completely confused because I don't recall ever saying anything like that. When I asked for more context, he said we had been talking about our own parents' marriages, and at some point, I said something along the lines of, even though I love him a lot, I love his mother the most. My wife apparently agreed with me, and the conversation has tainted his view of our relationship ever since. I told him there was nothing wrong with what I said and that he was acting like a self-centered brat who thinks that the world revolves around him. He told me to go to hell. I told my wife about what had happened, and she said I was wrong for calling him that, even though I believe it was true. This is a really good example, and an unfortunate one, of the axe forgetting but the tree remembering. And in this case, you actually had a golden opportunity to reassure your son that just because those words that he overheard when he was 10 doesn't mean you don't want a relationship with him. Even if you think he's being dramatic or being a brat or whatever the hell you think, which in my opinion is entirely unjustified, it's very clear that your words definitely had an impact on him and how he views you and your wife. And when he actually finally expressed that to you, you did nothing but confirm it. And calling your son a self-centered brat who thinks the world revolves around him after you just found out that for his entire life since he was 10, he spent every day looking at you and your wife and just thinking of, they don't really love me. Like, your son spent every day thinking that, and I know that's how he felt because I grew up as a queer child in the closet for my entire life, and I remember every little fucking thing that was said by one of my parents that made me just afraid and made me just think every day of my life that if they knew who I truly was, they wouldn't love me, they would hate me, they would cast me out, they wouldn't care about me. I spent every day thinking that and feeling like I had to hide who I was, and maybe if I was lucky enough, I would never have to tell them and I could just live my life and seem normal so they could be proud of me. And that is something that just eats at you. It just hurts. It doesn't feel good at all. You can call his anger unfair, unreasonable, but that's how he's been feeling since he was 10. And you had the perfect slam dunk opportunity to mend your relationship and actually get what you wanted, which in your first paragraph was for him to reach out first, for him to want to spend that kind of time with you, for him to want to have that communication. And instead, you pushed him away. And you gotta live with that. There's no taking that back now. You had a chance to quell the fears of a 10-year-old mind that had gone astray, and instead, you validated them when he's in his 20s. You can't take that back. Like, it's done. Hey, welcome to the outro. Don't forget GamerSupps is doing 20% off for all partner codes, so if you use code Oz at checkout, you get 21% off. And yes, it does directly support me. I really do mean that. Again, the sale is going on until February 21st at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, all the way to February 28th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And of course, not to mention, GamerSupps has more than just caffeine products. They have caffeine-free, they actually have ramen noodles, they have mouse pads, posters, t-shirts. Their t-shirts are actually really comfortable, and just a lot of really cool stuff. Plus non-waifu stuff as well if you don't want to be wearing a degenerate shirt around, so there is that as well. They've actually got some really cool non-anime girl designs that I'm actually a really big fan of. So again, if you want to take advantage of the 21% off and get yourself a nice comfy shirt, this is like the perfect time to do it. Use code Oz at checkout because again, it does directly support me.